What if I told you you've been doing all of your long-term emergency food storage wrong? Hmm? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to tell you. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. For all the new people here, we got a bunch of them. It's great to have you. And I'm about to tell you something today that's probably going to shock most of you. But if you'll stay with me, I'm going to explain exactly why it's true and why you may want to change the way that you are storing your long-term food. Uh, to give you a little bit of background, I used to be just like everybody else. Okay, rice and beans and this and that, and I came to that conclusion because of what I had studied. I owned a gym back in the 80s and 90s, and I was one of these exercise freaks. Okay, owned a gym. I ran 8 miles a day barefoot. I worked out all the time, taught martial arts, thought I was in great shape, and I followed the dietary guidelines that we had all been taught were the best, right? I thought, if I recall right, I think I kept my fat intake below 10%. I tried to keep my protein up around 40%, and then the rest of it, the other 50%, was going to be carbs, rice and pasta and things like that. By the way, if you're going to do it, I highly suggest pasta over rice. Rice uptakes things from the ground that you don't want to be ingesting, to whereas pasta comes from a flour. So arsenic, that's what I meant to say. It uptakes arsenic. And if you're eating that all the time, yes, I know that billions of Asians eat rice all the time, but that's just the truth. So I did that, and I worked out all the time, and I was in pretty good shape. And that's pretty much what I went along with for years and years and years. Well, a couple of years ago, Kelly tried to get me to listen to some of the things that she was listening to about the carnivore diet. Yep, this is going to be about the importance of switching to carnivore, but I'm going to explain to you exactly why you should, and it's going to affect the way you store food from now on. Okay, it's not just about calories. The body is not an engine that just burns and takes in fuel and then burns it the way we always thought. It's a chemical process. It's a chemistry experiment going on within us. Okay, so you can't count it, just by calories. I used to do that. I used to teach people that. I used to take in 7,000 calories a day just to give myself the energy that I needed to do all the running and working out I did, and it was wrong. And I didn't come about this through ignorance, and I didn't just get it out of some of books or magazines, things like that. I spent a couple of years at the University of Missouri Medical School library. I mean, I didn't spend every day there, but I would go to the library and I would study their sports medicine books, and I would study their their dietitian journals and everything like that. And so I thought I knew what I was talking about. Well, anyway, Kelly tried to get me onto this keto and then carnivore some time ago, and I said, well, that didn't make any sense because it is totally against everything that I've learned, and I was very resistant. And I know some of you are right now too. I encourage you, don't resist this. Listen to what I'm saying and then do your own research. I'm going to give you several other channels to go to, MDs, doctors who really started this movement. And if you'll listen to them and with an open mind and allow yourself to consider it, then understand it, and then accept it, it's going to change your life. And I mean, it's going to change the way you prepare. Well, anyway, I was resistant. I said it didn't make any sense. Well, I had a health issue last summer, and as a result, I decided to go on the carnivore diet. Within 3 days, I no longer hurt coming down the stairs, and I have hurt every day of my life since I was about 30. I slept like a baby. I haven't slept more than 10 minutes at a time for years and years and years because I've been banged up so much. Uh, I'll lay on one side, I'll go to sleep, I'll start hurting, that wakes me up, I got to turn over the other side, I fall asleep, I start hurting, it wakes me up, I turn over. So I tell people I haven't slept more than 10 minutes at a time for years and years. 3 days after going on carnivore diet, I slept through the night, slept like a baby, got up, my energy started going through the roof within a week. My mental clarity was unbelievable. I started wanting to exercise instead of making myself exercise. Did I tell you? I don't think I told you this yet. I lost 34 pounds within 8 weeks, I think, something like that. I mean, I had a gut. I shouldn't have had a gut. There's no excuse for any of us to have a gut, except that we don't, we sit down too much. And I sit down too much now, but it was because I didn't have the energy to get up and do what I ought to be doing. Now my energy's up. Well, several weeks ago, or was it a couple of months ago? I don't remember. But another channel, Pinball Preparedness, said that he was wanting to drop some weight. And I know a lot of you probably watch him, very smart guy. And he said he was going to consider going on the carnivore diet. And I think he did a couple in between there. He said he wasn't seeing all that much, wasn't losing that much weight or whatever, but he stuck with it. And he just came out with one the other day. I think he's been on it for a couple of months now. And he consulted his doctor about it, and he consulted a nutritionist. I didn't do any of that. I'll tell you, I've known too many doctors, and I know that the only thing that they know less about than exercise is nutrition. Okay, and most nutritionists simply continue to go along with the old food pyramid, which we know is wrong and has been wrong forever. And if you want a sneak peek into that, watch some of Dr. Anthony Chaffee's videos, and he's one that I'm going to recommend. Well, just a few days ago, Pinball Preparedness did a video. He has been on it for a couple of months. Came back with his lab work. Let's see who's calling me. Okay. Came back with his lab work from his doctor, and it was great. And I don't remember what it was, but go check out his video on that. And his labs were great. Now, the three that I'm going to tell you, is there more than three? Yeah, more than three. There are several channels that I suggest you go watch, and they will change your life. Excuse me, it's allergy seasons. Let me take a sip, and I'll see if that helps. Now, I'll tell you, that's another thing, that I used to have to take allergy medication all the time. I still get a little scratchy throat, but since I'm on this carnivore, allergies don't bother me, except a little scratchiness in the throat. The guy that really started all this was a guy by the name of Sean Baker. He was an orthopedic surgeon, I believe. Army. Actually, he got into it with the American Medical Association over this stuff because he didn't like the way they were promoting unhealthy lifestyle. And he's really kind of considered the godfather of all this stuff. When I put this up over on the Patreon channel, I'll put the links to all these channels that I'm going to tell you about down below the video. You can find them on your own. It's just something that I do for those of you who are on Patreon. The link to the Patreon is down below if you're not with us and if you'd like to join us. And there's a lot over there. You'd like it. The second one that Kelly got me to start watching was Ken Berry. Dr. Ken Berry. He's a GP down in Tennessee. And he covers so much. Started out keto, went carnivore, and listening to him, you're going to get an education. And then the third one is Anthony Chaffee. He's a neurosurgeon, now working out of Australia. He's from the United States, but out of Australia. And he will take you a deep dive into the science of why carnivore is the way humans are meant to eat. Now, am I 100% carnivore? No, I'm not. When we have a birthday, I have a piece of cake. When we go to our favorite pizza place, I have a piece of pizza. When we go to our favorite custard place, I have a hot fudge sundae. But everything else, for the most part, every day, all day, I am a carnivore. The difference is absolutely amazing. And it was Pinball's video that reminded me that I've been wanting to do this. So check out those three channels, and then I'm going to give you another one in just a second. So check out Sean Baker, Ken Berry, and Anthony Chaffee. You will get an education. You're going to hear things that you're going to shake your head and go, I can't hardly believe that. Believe it. Okay. And for anybody who wants to come on here and say, well, I don't know about that. That just doesn't make any sense. Remember, I said that too, and I was wrong. And so are you. If you'll give yourself, if you really want to do better in life, not just prepare for the long-term future, and you should be, one of the most important things in preparedness for, hard times is your physical shape, your ability, your physical ability to do work and to do things and to remain healthy. If everything crashes, modern medicine is going away, and these guys will show you how to keep your health so you won't have the kinds of problems that people deal with now. You won't have high blood pressure. You won't have diabetes. Yes, I said that. I know. They say that diabetes is completely reversible with the carnivore diet. Now that's doctors saying this, okay? And I'm just passing on what they've said. I don't have diabetes, so I can't say that. I can say what's happened to me, and it's been amazing. So watch them. Do something for yourself. Don't just argue. Allow yourself to consider it, and you're going to come out the other side not believing in what has happened with you in a good way. One more, and it's called Homestead How. It's a homesteading guy that he used to be, I think, up in the 300 pounds. He went on carnivore, and he is down to like the one somethings or other. And he is a very engaging guy, a very friendly guy, and he interviews everybody else. He has really built this channel. He has switched his channel over to just all about carnivore, pretty much, I think. And he interviews everybody else in the carnivore world, the ones that I mentioned, and a whole lot of what you would consider to be normal people who tell their success stories. And the health issues that have just gone away as a result of the carnivore diet, you won't believe. I'm serious. I don't make anything out of this, okay? And it's not going to cost you anything. It's going to save you money because you're going to stop eating the junk. You are probably poisoning yourself every day, just like I did, just like most Americans, Aussies, Canadians, Europeans, like most people do. Okay, you're poisoning. Why do you want to continue to eat poison? And you will learn that stuff is poison, and you will learn why eating meat, meat, eggs, that's about it. Butter, okay. That's what you want to do, and you want to be on a high-fat diet, very low carbs. I mean, as close to zero as you can get. What that will make you understand is that long term, the rancher is going to do better than the farmer. Okay. It will also do something else. It'll change the way you store food. You'll stop bringing in all the rice and the beans, which really are going to make you operate at a very low level, a very low intensity. Now, did I throw out all my rice and beans and pasta? No, of course not. That's food that we will have in case of a real emergency. And you might want to keep a lot of that cheap stuff. Some people call it slave food. That's the cheap food is what they fed this, people that weren't living in the big house, right? The story of the potatoes. Why the Irish starved? Because Ireland was occupied by the British. They were eating too much of the food that the British wanted to send back to England and sell at a profit, so they imported the potato from North America, gave that as a food source for the Irish. That's all the Irish had to eat. And then when the potato blight came in the 1840s, 1 million Irish starved. Your body wasn't meant to run on potatoes and rice and beans and stuff like that. Your body was meant to run on meat. So this is going to change how you prepare. And it's going to change how you start bringing in a lot more meat. You freeze a lot, can a lot, buy canned meat, raise your own animals, it's going to completely change your long-term preparedness for the better, because it's going to change the way you understand things and change the way you see things. Okay? All right. So I know this is a shock, and probably a lot of you are going, oh, I don't know, Steve. I don't know if I believe that. Well, I'm not asking you to believe me right now. I'm asking you to consider this enough, because I'm telling you about myself. I can swear it. Consider it enough to go watch these other guys, and watch a bunch of it. If you have a medical issue, chances are, I can't guarantee everything, chances are a carnivore diet is, if not fix it, it will minimize it. It'll mitigate it. It will help you manage it. Did you know that, what's the guy's name? Friedrich? I forget what it is. But they are even talking about the fact that cancer cannot survive without sugar. That cancer is not the big scary monster we've always thought it was. It is a metabolic disease, and the ones on the forefront are starting to understand that. And they say, if you starve cancer of sugar, that cancer, okay, or it protects against you getting it. Consider that, okay? And it has changed. I wrote something about in my books. You know how at Stonemont, they do have their farms, but they also started raising a lot of beef and buffalo and everything like that. So I'll leave it at that. I want to remind you all, especially all the new people, that this and all my videos are brought to you by my books, the Stonemont series. The Reversion, the Revival, the Renewal, and Appeal to Heaven, the Blessings of Freedom, and Hostages to Fortune. The complete guide, I call them, to preparing for, surviving, and rebuilding after a complete collapse of everything. You can get them through Amazon, and I put the link down below in the information box. But what I really love is when people order them directly from me, and you can do that through our website, stonemont.us. That's down below, because I get to sign them for you and write a little note to you, and I really like to do that. If you haven't read these yet, and you're serious about preparedness, or if you just like a good story, because it's a great story too, I might suggest this be the very next thing you do, because you're going to like it and you're going to learn a lot from it. So that's it. Think about it. Go watch those guys. I'll name them one more time. I'm sorry about my voice. It has been I've been outside working, and it's allergy season. And like I say, usually before I went on carnivore, I'd be dragging, man. I mean, I'd feel like I got hit by a truck. And now I don't feel bad at all. I feel great, got plenty of energy. It's just affecting my throat a little bit. So the three guys, who was it? Sean Baker, Ken Berry, Anthony Chafee, and then Homestead Howell. Go check those guys out. It'll change your life. I'm not kidding. And it'll change the way you prepare. And I'll put those links over on the Patreon when I post this on Patreon for those of you who are with us over there. Okay, you guys have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. Preparing well means eat like you're supposed to. Don't eat trash. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.